Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network and iHeartRadio. Welcome to Hunting for Answers, a true crime podcast. I'm your host, Hunter, and today we're discussing a case that began in Oakland, California in January 2025. This case has drawn the attention of the FBI, who believe something very troubling is behind a young woman's disappearance. A 21-year-old woman known to her friends as Milli was last seen by her mother in Oakland on January 17th. 3 days later, she was spotted 80 miles away in Stockton, California. Then she vanished without a trace. Federal investigators now believe she was being trafficked, and they're offering a $10,000 reward for any information that could bring her home. This is the story of Heaven McGee. Heaven Desiree McGee was born on March 4th, 2004. Born and raised in the Bay Area, she was known to friends and family by her nickname, Milli. She was a young woman navigating her early 20s in one of California's most complex metropolitan areas. But on January 17th, 2025, Heaven's normal life would take a dark turn that would lead to her disappearance in a federal investigation. January 17th, 2025, a Friday in Oakland, California. This was the last day Heaven's mother would see her daughter. The two had what seemed to be a normal interaction. However, neither of them could have known that this would be their final conversation. Within days, Heaven would disappear, and the circumstances would suggest something very horrific. 3 days later, on January 20th, 2025, Heaven surfaced 80 miles away in Stockton, California. She was spotted in a commercial corridor, the kind of area with truck stops, motels, and businesses that stay open late. Stockton is a Central Valley city that sits at the intersection of major highways, a place where people pass through on their way to somewhere else. But Heaven wasn't just passing through. According to the FBI, she was there for a reason that would shock her family and launch a federal investigation. After January 20th, Heaven McGee vanished. She hadn't been heard from, and she hadn't contacted her family. She hadn't returned to Oakland, and it was as if she simply just disappeared that night. As days turned into weeks, her family grew increasingly desperate. They reached out to police, filed missing persons reports, and began what would become a months-long search for answers. Little did they know that federal investigators were already building a case that would reveal the horrifying truth about why Heaven had been seen in Stockton. By June 2025, the case had escalated to the federal level. The FBI special agent in charge, Sanjay Vermani, made a chilling announcement. Based on the evidence gathered in this case, we believe Heaven was being trafficked and is the reason why she was in the Stockton area. Human trafficking. The location where Heaven was last seen also tells a troubling story. Stockton's commercial corridors and truck stops are unfortunately common locations for human trafficking. These areas are anonymous, constant flow of potential clients, and easy access to major highways for quick movement. The fact that Heaven was spotted there follows a pattern that federal investigators know all too well. The investigation into Heaven's disappearance has expanded. Oakland police, the FBI, and other law enforcement agencies have all been involved in the search. With distributed flyers, created videos, and numerous media reports. But despite all these efforts, Heaven Desiree McGee is still missing, and the investigation continues. The FBI's involvement in this case shows just how serious it is. The agency has offered a $10,000 reward for any information that could lead to locating Heaven. Her case highlights a growing crisis in California and across the nation. Human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar criminal enterprise that preys on vulnerable individuals, often young women like Heaven. The timeline of Heaven's disappearance has left investigators and loved ones with troubling questions. What happened between January 17th, when she was last seen by her mother in Oakland, and January 20th, when she appeared in Stockton? How did she end up 80 miles away from home? These 3 days represent a critical period that investigators are still trying to piece together. The answers to these questions could be the key to finding Heaven and bringing her home. For Heaven's family, the past months have been a nightmare. They've gone from wondering where she was to learning that she may be a victim of human trafficking. The uncertainty, the fear, and the helplessness that comes with having a loved one disappear under these circumstances is unimaginable. Yet, they haven't given up hope. The investigation into Heaven's disappearance is ongoing, and the search for any clue that might lead to her location. Agencies are asking the public for help. Anyone with information about her disappearance should contact the Oakland Police Department's Missing Persons Unit. You can find their information in the description box below. My thoughts and prayers are with the family and friends of Heaven Desiree McGee. As we close out this episode, don't forget to click the follow button to stay updated on Heaven's case and others like it. Be sure to subscribe to Hunting for Answers on YouTube and follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more true crime updates. And if you are watching us on YouTube, let us know your thoughts on this case in the comments below. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode. Until next time. Hunting for Answers is a production of the Black Effect Podcast Network. For more podcasts from the Black Effect Podcast Network, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.